Well, at the post, Peter Morgan from Ireland, and the national champion with his dog, 6 years, 7 months. Moose, and Moose is actually owned by McCrory, and Peter runs him on his behalf. And it's his third time that he's been in the team, his first time as the national champion. And lunchtime tomorrow, his son will be competing in the young handlers competition. And he farms full time. He's got Scottish blackface sheep. They graze on the Mournes Mountains. And he said that his dog has been an easy dog to train and been a pleasure to work. And Peter's been trialling for 18 years. And as a family, they compete quite a bit in trialling.
Hugh Condron has joined us in the commentary box, and we're just going to pass over to him.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so started his run now. The penultimate run of the day is Peter Morgan with Mossee. Bringing the sheep down the fetch. So there's a natural draw right-handed for the sheep there, and the dogs need to be flanked.
Yeah, this afternoon really they've actually drawn far more than they've done really from yesterday and this morning.
Yeah, no, there is a draw, and there was a couple this morning that were just bolting for that side, so the dog has got to cover him well, Marion. And
yeah, and said earlier, Moss is 6 years, 7 months. His sire is Nap, owned by Frankie McCulloch, and the dam is Snip, owned by Eddie Hawthorne.
I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that Peter Morgan is Frankie McCulloch's son-in-law. So there'll be a lot of support for this. Quite a big family, quite a big shearing family, and Kieran will be watching up in Scotland. So Peter then. And the way he shouted that stop there reminded me of Frankie. He's got quite a good stop on him as well. So Peter then. Sheep are coming down. So the sheep, they've been a little bit more testing today, as you were saying earlier, gentlemen, that they're testing the dogs more today than they were yesterday, and it'll be interesting to see who will be in that top 15 for tomorrow, because whoever makes it will have had to work for it, because it's certainly no gimme. They had to work yesterday, and the sheep have been exceptional from Irwell Evans and family.
Yes, he put a little bend in there on this thing. He needs to pull them back in on line again. Nice type of dog.
And I've just been out watching the sheep coming down the course there, Mike, and for us it might look as if they're not quite online, but of course
That's
with
right.
that camera angle it's quite deceiving.
Yeah, she'll have to keep reminding me of that bit, because we've got a great view, and for the people at home, I hope you're enjoying it. But there is that slight angle where we are different to the judges.
Yeah, so if people are judging at home and they're judging on what they see, their points could be a little bit different from what
That's
the
correct,
official
yeah.
judges are, because they're seeing a different view, so we go on their points, of course. So just taking these sheep up the first leg of the drive now, and looks to be a good start there so far. And
Yeah, he's got them on those tram lines.
yeah, there's a lot of sheep travelled up that track over the last 2 days.
Yeah, and I'm sure the grass either side of it's grown, hasn't it? Because it's been such wonderful weather. And
There's not many sheep had time to stop and graze on that
No,
track. It's
that's
just
right.
been flattening.
needs to just push them slightly. There's a lot further to go than you think to the hurdle. We're just looking with the camera as it pans in. Now they're through.
You can see, when you start to read the sheep as well, you could see that the sheep saw the gap because they gave a flick of the ears and they were looking for the gap.
Thinking they're escaping.
And through they went there, Marion.
And just remember, these are, every competitor has a fresh packet of 5. None are run over.
But they will be run rerun tomorrow as another. It's a different trial tomorrow for Supreme, so they'll be the flock from yesterday and flock today will be reunited overnight, and then tomorrow for the Supreme they'll be back on this course.
This is a nice line across here.
And again, everybody's on that fence line watching all these national championships. These are the dogs that won their respective countries. And the way that these dogs are working here this afternoon shows why they've been or were the national champions of their country.
Going to go straight through the middle of this obstacle. Dog with his head tucked down, waiting for that left-hand command. There he goes. Slightly wide turn. Dog probably gave a little more ground than he needed to, but he doesn't want to upset them to come back in the shedding ring.
Yeah, I think that these the champions now, of course, the 4 team captains have, when they are running those dogs, they've decided that it's better to make sure of the obstacle. It's better to hit it by a mile than miss it by an inch, isn't it? So,
well, they've looked most probably at the scores. What is that number 15? What is the cut-off point? Okay, it's nice to win this qualifying round, but at the end of the day, you want to be there tomorrow as one of those 15. So you can afford perhaps to lose 1 or 2 points on a wide turn and make sure that you catch the obstacle. Because if you fairly nice lines, catch those 3 obstacles, tidy shed, pen and single, you could be quite confident I'll be there tomorrow.
yeah, I was just out there now talking to a couple of handlers, and they were saying that it's better to be in it. It doesn't matter where you're in it, as long as you're in it, it's better to be in it than watching it. So, we're seeing these sheep just bouncing a little bit in that shedding ring as well, that we haven't seen. It's almost as if they're a little bit different to yesterday. Yesterday they were standing and quite forgiving in the close-up work, and today they're not forgiving as much.
We spoke earlier, really. I think they've all come from the same flock, and I think Ruel just split that flock, but would have the older ewes perhaps have come in that first bunch, and the younger ones were left behind? Who knows, really?
Yeah, well, I don't think we'll ever know that
No,
formula.
we can't answer that really question, really.
No,
but through and through, really, the sheep have been tremendous here. It's been a credit for him over the last 2 days.
We're talking to people last night, and on the internet, people are saying they haven't seen sheep like this at an international. You know, for consistency, everybody's had a fair chance. It hasn't come down to luck. It's come down to skill, which is what the international needs to be.
Yeah. And when the sheep work well, you've got to be on top of your game. Because we've seen sometimes in these Supreme qualifications, people will be have missed obstacles. And, perhaps haven't completed the course on the odd occasion. But the running has not been that good, allows them to be in. Well, here, you've had to catch every obstacle and finish these elements to be there tomorrow.
And the finish has proved to be key in this as well, isn't it? Yeah. And like we said, the tracks that we see around the course is over 300 sheep gone around this course over the last few days. And
no, it's building up to an exceptional good final tomorrow.
Standing out there earlier just to see those sheep there, it's going to be some massive course there tomorrow. And when we come back in the morning, you'll see the setup be slightly different to today, but it's as Marion said, it's a new trial tomorrow with a lot of ground and a lot of scope.
Oh, great pen there by Mossee and Peter. That's nice, keeping the dog at that distance, so they come in a straight line out of that pen rather than come across towards the front of the grandstands. Looks more professional. Kevin did it. Mossee, a very willing dog.
Yeah, and Peter Morgan now then from Ireland with Mossee. He's a good stamper dog as well.
He is.
Long-coated dog, and he's almost a carbon copy of what's on the ISDS logo.
You look, Western Kappa, yes. Just flicking him out there. Peter's very cool. Not getting excited. Just trying to string the sheep out. Mossee watching every move.
That's a sign of a good handler, and it is definitely less is more. Dog covering his sheep.
Most people have shed in the middle or up to this end. There's not many people shed at the bottom end of that shedding ring, have they?
No.
As Myron said, they try and get in the centre of the ring and you've less chance of it going wrong.
Yeah, Paddy started yesterday morning saying that, you know, you've got a shed in the centre of the ring. You don't want to go into a corner. And I said, well, how do you get a corner? It's a circle.
Yes.
So Peter Morgan now then just settling those sheep. And as we've seen over the last 2 days, when you're trying to get the shed, the collared sheep are on the outside, and then when you come to the single, the collared sheep are tucked into the middle. And that's the test of the shepherd, is to get, just to ease those sheep out of the way.
There's one on the front there. She's gone back in the middle. Mossee just keeping the distance. They've been round a couple of times, done 2 full circles, but there's no points to go for doing that when you're trying to manoeuvre the single.
And I'd say that he had plenty of time left, Mike. You know, he hasn't wasted time round the course, but still he wants to get this element done. There's 40 points at stake here.
Just that little stab in the ground just unsettled the sheep there with his crook. As we've said before, some people use the crook, some people use the other arm. And for the first time today, Kevin Evans did it with his crook hanging over his arm. So there's no right way and no wrong way.
So this is proving a little bit more difficult than we were anticipating.
And I suppose that was one of the best pens we've seen. They were so happy to be together. Now they don't want to come apart.
Now she turns back in. She's on.
Peter not getting frustrated.
But he knows most probably now, right, we need to get this done, and it's...
That's a picture for you. That's a picture. Get back up on your feet, Mossee.
No.
No, this is eating into his time. There it is. in the end it comes in. He's got it. Well done. Well done, Peter.